And I'm Kula Fofana, Presidential Press Secretary.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you all. So our agenda here from the Lama side is very brief, and then I will turn it over to Eula to deliver their remarks. The last time you were here in May, we advised you that one of our key priorities was enhancing the Liberian brand in Georgia. And I'm happy and pleased to report that we were able to do a great job over the last 2.5 years to achieve that goal. And I wanted to present to you some evidence of some of the work we've been doing. In May, we met with the governor of Georgia, and he wrote a proclamation for Liberia. As you can imagine, this is should I read it? Okay. By the governor of the state of Georgia, a proclamation, Liberian Independence Day. Whereas the Republic of Liberia was founded on July 26, 1847 by freed and freeborn African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans who relocated to Africa after gaining freedom. And whereas there are an estimated 25,000 Liberians who call Georgia home, and several Georgians to Liberia. Whereas, as a result, Liberia and the state of Georgia have a long history of close relationships between our peoples. And whereas, Georgia has benefited from the contributions of so many Liberians who call this state home. And we acknowledge the positive impact they have had on our state. Whereas, the state of Georgia commemorates Liberia's 177th Independence Day and displays the solidarity between Liberia and the Peach State, that is Georgia. And therefore, I, Brian P. Kemp, Governor of the state of Georgia, do hereby proclaim July 26, 2024 as Liberian Independence Day in Georgia. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the executive department to be affixed this 13th day of May in the year of our Lord, 2024. Signed, Governor Brian Kemp. We also received on Independence Day a proclamation from the Atlanta City Council, signed by the head of the Atlanta City Council and all council people in Atlanta. It's very similar. I don't want to show this, but again, they were very supportive of our efforts, and they recognize the positive impact that Liberians have made in the state of Georgia, and they recognize the work that we have done over the last 2 years to rebrand our community. And then finally, it's estimated that over 60% of our population resides in Gwinnett County in the Northeast, and the largest city there is Lawrenceville. Now, Lawrenceville doesn't typically do proclamations. However, in our case, they wrote a special letter in our honor. And they presented this to us on July 26th as well. They have full representation at our independence. And we had a celebration the next day on Saturday where over 500 Liberians turned up in the park to celebrate. When we release the next newsletter, we will share pictures. I know most of you received the newsletters, so you will see that. You do?
But my kids were there.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did see your kids there. So, Mr. President, this is just some evidence of the work that we have done. It didn't come easy, but over the last 2 years, with the support of our board and a national organization, We've done a great job in branding Liberians from Georgia. Furthermore, we were also represented by the leaders of all the African communities in Georgia. All the presidents for all the African communities meet once a month to keep our union strong, and they were all supportive of us as well. So we have received, as you are aware, the African caucus of the state legislature came on our behalf to present you the proclamation when you were here. So, thank you. Thank you. And in closing, before I turn it over and maybe take questions, I just want to say our goal is we're still resilient on our goal to support tourism by promoting the Liberian culture whenever and however we can. And in that line, the board has approved for us to set up an advisory board specifically to look into us acquiring a cultural center here in Atlanta that will serve as a hub for all things Liberian culture. Not just in Georgia, but nationally. As you're aware, all roads pass through Atlanta, the busiest airport in the world, and so many Liberians are coming into Georgia. So on that note, I will rest.
Yeah, okay. First of all, my name is Lai Dre, Vice President of Southern Region of Liberian, and former co-chair of Lama. First of all, I would like to give my endless thanks and appreciation to the President and our delegations for inviting us here today. I think the President is not new to Georgia. When I was chairman at the time of Lama, when Yasin was president of Lama, he did extremely well for us here to get to us community center. We even named that community center in the name of Joseph Boakai. And we know that he cares for Liberia. This is not the first time. So having a full role, I will pass this EULA to my Secretary General, who is next in the command and who is have administrations responsible for the day affair. So to take over and deliver what we have for the EULA. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Dure. Mr. President, I bring you greetings from the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas, specifically our national president, Mr. Mohammed Emishiwan Keita, and Vice President Emmanuel Nangwe. EULA has come a long way, Mr. President. As a matter of fact, 2024 is our golden jubilee. We've been in existence since 1974. Advocating for Liberians, and both in Liberia and the U.S. And as a matter of fact, this year we're celebrating our 50th anniversary in the great state of New Jersey, Atlantic City. I understand you and your delegation will be at the United Nations that very week. Hopefully you can squeeze some time to stop by. I did bring a copy of our flyer and also the letter of invitation that we wrote you. So I'll share that with your staff. I want to say welcome once again to the U.S., probably the biggest diaspora community for Liberians around the world. Having said that, we have the biggest responsibility. To whom much is given, much is expected. And in that regard, during your last visit to Atlanta, we presented you a document with a list of some some goals that we hope to achieve. I can safely say that we have initiated 3 of those goals. I believe there were 6. The most important for Liberians residing in the U.S. is the Deferred Enforced Departure Program. That's where Liberians are allowed to
stay in the U.S. and work legally, and for a period of time. You have to be eligible for it. It's renewed every 2 years or so. We fought very hard for it, engaging elected officials and Liberians, sending emails, making calls to the White House and all of that. And I can safely say that it was extended to June 30th of 2026. So that's another 2 years. Thank you. We're proud to announce that we are shortly going to begin the construction of a resource complex in Liberia. And this resource complex, it will encompass two components of your arrest agenda, specifically education and tourism. And I'll just quickly read here. This facility will house educational and healthcare facilities, including a youth and women's empowerment program. Okay, it will have 2 huge halls for events. It's a multi-use facility. It will have state-of-the-art medical center. It will have offices, restaurants, even a tourism office, and things of that nature. Which segues into my next point, diaspora engagement. As a matter of fact, a delegation from EULA traveled to Liberia this year, July 20th, and met with several officials of your government. Unfortunately, we weren't able to meet with you, but you were well represented. And our goal is to strengthen partnership and cooperation with the government of Liberia as EULA. And in that light, we discussed several issues involving investment and trade, immigration, and establishing sister city relationships between cities in Liberia and cities in the U.S. So I have those documents here, so I'll leave them with you and your staff. And once again, I want to say to all of you, welcome to Atlanta, Georgia again, and welcome to the United States of America. Thank you.
And Mr. President, on behalf of both the Board of Directors of LAMA and of EULA, we want to thank you again for giving us the time to listen to us. And we want to reassure you that our main goal here in the United States is to make sure that our people back home have a thriving and progressive life. And know that with everything that we're doing, that we keep your agenda in mind. Because we know that in order for Liberia to be successful and for you to be successful, you all have to work together. And thank you.
I want to say thank you for always welcoming us to be here. And I think it was a mail.
Yes.
Yeah. Brief time. Also, I like to say that we're very proud of you here. And not only working along with people, but also doing things that will elevate our country, as well as preparing yourself, children to know that even while you have a home, of course, you were right, Atlanta, been there a couple of times. And of course, Dr. Conan is let me talk a little bit about the cultural center. The late Bishop Harris. When we came here and we talked about it, and we made a contribution. And after that, we probably met here one or two more times to talk about it. And of course, it was there and then that I held Alexander Cummings and Cynthia to work with you in our graduate capacity. Of course, we've been trying to follow up as to how far that is going. But I just want to say, Liberians, while we are very proud of the contributions we making here, I'm happy that you're now beginning to think about doing something home. A couple of months ago, Don and others also put up an educational center on the premises of this center next to my church. We've been trying to follow up. I just want for all of us at Liberian to know home is home, and that home itself has gone through a lot of problems, difficulties, and that we took over, and in fact, we came up with a rescue agenda. And we don't have any regrets that we say it was a rescue agenda, because if you follow our history, Liberia has been from one problem to the other, a lot of neglect. We claimed 177 years, but it wasn't sure. And you will say, well, yeah, but everything has come. Some of us are living in Liberia. We are working the system. But as I always said, my ambition has not been to be president. But I was dissatisfied as one person for the pace of development in our country. We've been very good to many people in the sub-region, where they too send Liberian community back home. There will be a lot of people who will be identified with Liberians, but they will go back and they will not find their places in Liberia because they are African. I mean, we facilitated a lot of people. But have we been nice to ourselves? You can tell. Every business in Liberia almost major. I never knew something or something. So I always say, you say you're Liberian, but all the good houses are owned by Lebanese, by different people. All the businesses. They're not the same with Ghana. All of us. It's the awkward, completely the opposite supermarket. And in the coast of West Africa, it's not because I'm a Liberian that I can say we are the best position. We have the best advantage of making progress. This is a country where Panam used to fly 8 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is a country where you could walk to the airport. So you may have not been wrong, and you just walking up there. Yeah, like this, British Caledonia, you name it, they were all there. Our history has changed a lot, but we've still been regarded in terms of in position to develop, and because of being international. And that's a history that I hate to say it. When people say one Liberia to go back to the old, Liberia went back to the old and made sure that God progress. We have a country that was considered well advanced in West Africa. City Monrovia is now leader. We like everything. That's where we live. Some of us have been contented with what we were doing, but some of us have not been. And so, with the most recent government, and it's hard that you give history without making reference to it, we are convinced that 2-3 more years, what we missed when Ellie and I took over from being a failed state, we would have been truly a failed state. Because the competition of the world is getting bigger and bigger. And at this time, countries that miss out were always almost missing. And that's why we felt dissatisfied. And thank God we came together. I wasn't the one that won the election. He was the Liberian.
Absolutely.
All persons who were Liberia, especially on the night of the election, it was like a war. Everywhere, the incumbent party was bent on cheating, stopping ballot, but the Liberians said no. They said no. And that's why we have made it a mistake that what we promised the Liberians we would do, we would do. We were not just saying. We said we're going to be the first to take drug tests, we did. We're going to be the first to declare our assets, we did. We signed the Code of Conduct. We signed the War Crime Tribunal. Not that we were aiming at anybody. But one of the things that people forget is that we may see people in the streets smiling and moving around. But a lot of people in Liberia are hurting. See the children they call jokers. They didn't become jokers because they wanted to. But when people whose lives were short left children, and these children are living with an aunt, with somebody who they themselves don't have the resources, of course you can't keep children. So thousands and thousands of people are in the streets. And of those people who don't understand, who think that acquiring wealth is the solution, it's just a matter of time. You sit here, you hear Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and now terrorist countries. And that's just the neighborhood.
Very close.
And if we don't fight corruption, we continue to deny these people the opportunity. The most recent report from the Minister of Education was that 7 counties in Liberia out of 15 have huge shortfall in the number of children in school.
and you can see it. And River said, for me, it's 1%. Apollo, I just came from River Says. With all of what God has endowed on good land, well water, agriculture potential, resources, all of them are fading, and we are getting population increase. But I can now understand why some of these countries become terrorist countries. Who want to fight for a country that doesn't look at its armed forces, its security, its children? So when terrorists come, you say, am I going to die for a country that doesn't kill me? You heard when we took over, we almost had mutiny. Soldiers like everything. And so we committed ourselves and we would do the things that we were supposed to do as a demonstration of our real intent of what Liberia should be. And that's what we did. We made promises to the Liberians that in 100 days time, no car will get stuck anymore. I think for some of you who are on Facebook, you hear people, 15 women just came from the market women. Burmese gave the thing we had to do. They were paying $8,000 per head to come from Florida. They're not paying $4,000. Security, you got my phone here. I like to because you see, I'm not concerned about what goes on Facebook, what people say. I'm concerned about what we do for Liberians. That we appeal and we because I say to our friends and partners, country big or small, the leaders have under commitment to do exactly the same thing for them. You hear this thing?
Okay, I'm Christy Walker, Liberia County and District to be with this one again. And I want to tell God thank you for Papa Boakai, the president of the Liberia. He did something that really made me proud as the hero of the woman. And also the district inspector. I came from Maryland, just going Thursday. I started the road at 1:35 Thursday. Before 5 or 6 o'clock to Kakata.
Oh.
So much I want for God to continue to do stuff. I'm so happy. Even the very day I said it to the Chinese people, the very level, it went well. Wow. Thank you for it. But I God will bless you. I ready you to do more. Whatever you do, continue to devil in. Let God bless you. I'm crazy, work on once more. Let God bless you.
It'll take about almost 3 days for we can come to those places. And it was not easy for people because not only the road condition. Now this other man, I just saw it. They sent it to me.
This is the Honorable President, right? Yeah. So to the Honorable President, my guys want to say thank you for the work you did on the road. I came in for yesterday from Glaro, Africa. I actually almost took about a side. Driving time from Glaro to Bishop Monrovia was 13 hours. So I don't want to say thank you, and I beg you don't get tired. Stay behind people so they will keep that road open. It was sweet. And the driver said, so that's what I say thank you. And when you say it is, you have to say thank you. Okay.
And the one that tells you that you look how we met.
Oh.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's why we many people feel that people don't care.
Yeah.
But year in, year out, year in, year out. You say kind gets stuck in the north. We're gonna have rain season. Is that something new? No. So we committed doing that. And we committed ourselves that we will fight corruption, that will prosecute those people who have siphoned money out of our economy, buying houses elsewhere. That we will make sure those people who have used resources from their agencies and things to campaign and things and want to hold on to position. You just heard about the central bank report. And even while we just appointed a new governor, in about 3 days, somebody was trying to take $961,000, millions of dollars data across the country.
Wow.
So you will hear these things. And now we are proudly carrying the title Wish Hunter.
It's okay.
My t-shirt.
Oh, yeah, I got a t-shirt.
Wish Hunter t-shirt. They're selling it. But our country was on the downward.
Yeah.
In a matter of time, you will be here, there will be no country. And everybody can not come to other people's countries. People came here for different reasons. But the same thing that caused people to come here, the war, and it was all due to some people thinking that their country was just for them. The war, impunity, people kill people for no reason they had to. And this time around, very few people want for you to go to their countries. So, but you are somewhere where home is home. With all of the things you people are doing here, our job is to make sure that we give you a home back.
Thank you.
Proud of. And that's what we committed ourselves to. I have no reason being very young, but it's my love and passion for like you to rescue. If you just sit and think about Liberia, some of the things that we used to be proud of, no more. Which are African all our mining companies, the people just took the resources from there. You go to those communities. And that's when we, and thank God, we have very many people either around this table, but I'm in a position who are working very hard. So you can hear all the noise about, but we are proud that we took the best of people, either professionally, but people who share the same vision. But hard to transform that country.
Absolutely.
That's a job we have to do, and that's what we do. We want when you get to Monrovia, from the airport, you'll feel like you're coming home. Because I have worked, even when I was the vice president, to go around, get rights for the country. But when I got back home, Lebanese would take preference and they would president. You want to know that Liberians for Liberians on a big scale. As much as we're not against any going on, but it has to be a country where when you go back. And one of the most things that I'm thinking about now, as I discussed it with some of our partners, is to lay out the cities. That's just one country you can't mail a letter. Every time you want to do something, you have to promote another. Go to John Brown, Coca-Cola shop. So they have 3D promotion. Right. Because you can't say go to house number so and so.
Right. No house numbers.
And we have to do it. We have to not only that laying out the cities is going to also bring about reconciliation. Most of the problem you hear about land is location. Everybody want to be near the main road. But when you lay out the city, every area is an area. It will cost money, but I just discussed that with some of our major partners. We want people to be able when they go. If a house, I've seen houses burn in Monrovia, nothing, no fire truck anywhere. And you can't even do it. The place is not there. You can't have water, place is not there. During that campaign and the homeless campaign, all my life, I go to places and look how people, as much as they want to be civilized and civilized, they are not in position for that. Once somebody goes to contract, we find out we have access to critical access if you don't. And today you can't do it without demolishing some places, but we have to educate people.
Yes.
So why are you doing what you're doing? We have committed ourselves to making sure that we have a country called Liberia. We are well endowed with resources. Everything in Liberia is taken up by foreigners. We almost.
Yeah.
All the agreement there, the concession, and we will review everything. Because they were all programmed for the benefit of and so I have when people come, investors, every time you open your eyes, say, this is not a NATO. No action, talk only. I want to do what we say. We are willing to that. It's going to be difficult because you can't do it without hurting feelings.
Yeah.
That is intentional. Intentional in that we believe it is the right of our people to have a decent society. All the criminal act there, the citizens after the election took upon themselves to clean the streets.
Wow.
Well, I think Monrovia is that's part of our arrest agenda. Agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, tourism. I think you heard they just have major surfing.
Yeah. We
want to give life to people. And we want to move to do that. So I want to thank you. I want But you people to be out there, I don't want anybody to defend me for the wrong thing.
Absolutely.
We are going to do what it takes to make that country be a country that we proud of. In 6 years, sure. I've always said, I'm not for the next election, I'm for the next generation.
I know that's
A legacy that we have a country that we can be proud of. We can eat all the fufu here, we eat organic.
Real
organic food.
From the bush farm to the table.
To the table.
Yes.
I want to be able to export food to you.
Yes.
Want to be able to produce our rice. Want to be able to put our people to work. People have come to make them believe that they are well, but not their will. Is what we made them to be.
Yes.
That's what we change. So I just want to thank you all. And you know, with Lama, we have a history. Together, we started for the cultural center. We even at one time procured some items I wanted to bring, but it didn't work. And I think you people will continue to work with it.
Yes.
I don't know whether the trender is here, but
Speak with us.
she was working with it. We want to make, and I'm saying all of these because we will start the conversation, we will follow through.
Okay.
We want to make BWI again. We want to make it into a high-tech institution. That will even begin to manufacture some real appropriate tools for the farmers. Because the young people are not going to go back to the farm because we can position. I want BWI to have a process there where we can repair. Because most of the equipment we carry by the time something small. So we want to put that there so that where they can repair those machines. There's a medical doctor here, he knows about that. We want to make Liberia a place. It's unfortunate. I have a lot of friends in Ghana, they say they are the gateway. I say Liberia will be the destination. So all that we'll be doing, we'll be hearing, we'll be trying to, and the promises we made to the Liberians, that Boakai will get started. It's not as an event. We want to make more people like Morita to go home. I know one last year there. Rasmus.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
When you go to Liberia, you say, I'm going home. I want when you read there, you reach home.
Yes.
You get stuff. So that's a commitment to bring people to do that very faculty. Before in every 2 years, this budget has been stuck in 600 million. We go beyond the billion. All you have to do is stealing and getting money. That's the war we're going to. As I said, I just now places that we know that we want to unearth everything. We need your support in this direction. Even the people who think they are living well, they will benefit from that because they will see a good country. Right? We want to modernize six so-called cities. Respectability to Liberia. So I just want to say in a show that the commitment we made to the Liberians, our effort here at the diaspora. We need a diaspora. The diaspora, the current people who are there, like we started, Robert Sherman. I think they have a link. He's working hard. Fred almost said they retired, but not tired. People with skills about what that U.S. open for them to make their application. Go there and work. So we need your cooperation, we need your support. We need to assure you that the diaspora is going to be very, very, we're going to launch the diaspora operation so that we can together, you will be our mouthpiece here.
Yes.
You will be our resource here. We tell you that you're whatever, good like that, this man will need money. So, I want to thank you for your achievement. And I want to assure you that you're doing best. So she's very brave. In the campaign, there's a rise. It's done every week, every night, and bringing. She surprised me when she even carried security items. I said, are you money too? All these. But we appreciate the Liberians. We love your country. All right. You make a team. Thank you very much.
So what I'm going to say, I'm going to help with Lama. We're going to go back in and get the culture center.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's so many different ways.
Culture center, we will be here.
Yes.
We will be looking.
Because I remember when you donated the 10,000.
Yeah.
When you donated the 10,000 to the culture center
I
also.
did give.
I remember that.
I did give scholarships
Yes.
to people that are supposed to be chemistry.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just got to make sure we will work with the different political
Please
representatives.
insist on this Afro-Jackson relationship.
Yeah.
So we'll work on the
Just
fact that
after rezone.
yes, that's another.
Absolutely.
And Mr. President, thank you. And thank you to Lama and you are just
You are here.
so just to say that yesterday while waiting for you, I called up with the team to ask them why didn't they show up the dates they give us in July from the airport. So they should have come in July. A 7-man team should have been there because I had a
Problem is follow
I follow up with them and they give us the date. What they say happened is that the approval process for their travel couldn't, it wasn't sufficient time for them to make those dates in July. And with the MD leaving and him no longer being a staff, how would they pay for his travel? They had some complications, but they are still intent on the 7-man team coming. And I did meet with Delta, the executive in charge of Africa, and he said he's keen on restarting the conversation. He said he was inspired because I linked it to the issue of diaspora and trade. So you all can pick it up from there.
Yes.
The team is already set to come. The airport. They already know who else coming on the delegation. Everything is all set. It's just the approvals and the budget for them to make the trip. And then with Delta also, he says that in fact he told me I was talking to the airport. He said that that's a good triangular conversation to have. And he wanted us to focus on the issue of trade and the issue of us offering a service that they don't get from other African countries to find a niche. And you talk about different type of fuels and so forth. So I'll give you all that information.
Okay.
So we take it forward. And then just to say, Mr. President, on EULA, I was one of those I met the delegation. I met one of the individuals from EULA, and because of your schedule in September, we have some critical appointments and dates that we can't change. The day September 29th is the day that they wanted you in New Jersey to speak. So I told them I would get back to you, that you would indicate who can speak on your behalf. I already talked about it with Kesset.
The 27th.
The 27th.
Yeah.
The 27th is, but even the 27th is a
Friday,
problem.
yeah.
27th is the day we're launching the Security Council
Bid.
bid in New York. And then he said no, the actual speech will be the 29th.
Okay.
So then I said to him, I'll get back to you. He said, well, if the president can come, then you should speak on that day. The president cannot speak on that day on the 29th. Because the 29th, you can't change that day for the appointment that you have. So that's where we are with them. And then lastly, Mr. President, you'll be happy to know that I told you I was taking the ambassadors to the field. I was taking all the ambassadors in Liberia to see where the investments are going and to encourage new investments in our new development plan. And one of the places I took them to was Libya. And it's for the diaspora colleagues to hear the city and build on what's there. I was pleasantly surprised and so proud that at BWI now, they can manufacture any part for any car in the machine. They have the machine, yes. But the thing is, they need continued support, they need continued partnership and so forth. They have machines, they made agriculture machines for some farms. 1 or 2 farms ordered. So I was talking to some ambassadors to ask them to help for funding.
And for the first time,
so they can have prototypes.
I appointed a lady to head the 95 years.
Wow. So just to say, they need help because they need to develop, they need to construct some prototypes that they can use to advertise the different type of machines that they got.
Set the conditions.
Yes.
Even now, their buildings are not painted for them to read. We have to look for resources.
Okay.
So we have to make
Okay.
That's why we want to promote this place here with the trustees.
And all of those, yes.
We have started working on it.
Yeah, Mr. President?
So the president,
We have heard you, Mr. President, and I think I can speak on behalf of everyone as the committee to support the initiatives that you brought forth. We have been doing the best that we can, but having some clear direction is better. Now we know where to focus and support all of our benefits. Thank you.
so we can continue to share with you our plans and what we intend to do. I don't change the world. Yeah, people say you overcome and you say you come home. One for you too.
Yes, yes. That will be our focus. Thank you.
Before we go,
Yes.
I'd like to thank you for Lama and Yula. It's going to be quick for all your great initiatives. But I also want to remind you, don't forget the financial sector. It's so much easier to set up a bank in Liberia. We need a Liberian owned bank. You know, it's you got $2 million, you can open a bank. Why can't the diaspora community invest in the banking sector? So we must, in order for us to get our country where it's our country, we have the country, but for us to control the economy of our country, we need money.
Yes.
We need money.
We need money, we
We
need
need power.
to invest.
Yes.
All the right thing.
Yeah.
Nigerians must take over those.
So there's this poor excuse that Liberians don't pay loans back, but I think it's not true. So we should we have responsible Liberians. Let's concentrate on the financial sector as well. I was just at the FEMUSA convention a week ago. They started a hospital project of $1.5 million. They're going to send their proposal. They first start with food finances, but they're going to send their proposal to the PD, the president of the Liberian Union, which I head, and we'll see how we can raise funds for them. So that's a good initiative.
Yeah.
So your resource center, do you have you started?
ULA research.
Yeah.
Have you started?
Actually, at our convention this year, we'll be launching fundraising for the research center. But we have the land.
I gotta
We have the
go.
land.
We have the land
Yes,
already.
where?
Thank heaven
It's in
I feel-
Louisiana.
Okay. All right, so thank you, but just keep the financial sector in mind, it's very important.
Thank you for this.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you so much.